Sir, I'm able to see you.
Are you able to see me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the audio is right.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking it from my laptop now.
Okay, maybe that's right.
Yeah.
Felton sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Sir, yes, sir. Please switch on your video. Yeah, now it is perfectly fine.
Okay, can you hear me too?
Yeah, yeah. Anu ma'am, please,
Yes, sir.
you can start now.
Okay, fine, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, I, Anu Thomas, on behalf of Gitaradan International Business School, welcome you all in our today's session of Bridge Course in BBA program. At GITS, the thrust is on process-oriented approach for designing academic deliverable and quality outcome. Every process in teaching learning has been identified and incorporated into our pedagogical design. This ensures delivery of quality output at predetermined timelines. Apart from providing quality education, emphasis is on to develop leadership qualities, risk-taking ability, and decision-making skill from the beginning of your professional education. The essence of education lies in drawing out the very best that is in you. A bridge course for newly admitted student is conducted before the commencement of the first semester classes. The main objective of this course is to bridge the gap between the subjects that you have studied at pre-university level and the subjects that you would be studying in your graduation. The syllabus for the course is framed in such a way that you get a basic knowledge on the subjects which you would be learning throughout your graduation. For today's session, we have an eminent speaker with us, Dr. Felton Bean. Dr. Felton is currently a lead trainer in soft skill, behavioral areas, and organizational consultant. He is an agriculture graduate with MBA degree in HRM, MS in psychology, and PhD in HRM from IIM Bangalore and PhD in psychology from University of London. He has published his PhD major thesis in soft skill training. He is also a certified practitioner and trainer of neuro-linguistic programming. Dr. Lee specializes in using contemporary training method to suit modern need with over 15 years experience in training and empowerment. He is also a consultant advisor to many startup companies in India and abroad. He is also a business coach, counselor, and soft skill trainer. I would request Sir to take the session forward and illuminate us with his expertise. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Okay.
And good afternoon, dear students. I apologize for the technical delay on my part, and there have been so many hitches that came our way. But I'm sure you would bear with me, and I will take you through the session uh, in a very genial manner, so that you will not have any problems at all when it comes to knowing what a manager should do. Well, all of us want to be managers, and that's one of the reasons why you probably have started your journey through a BBA program, and ultimately wanting to do an MBA, or probably wanting to branch out in the other areas. Now, the whole world, you have seen, you might be having so many idols in your mind, when it comes to management, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to business. There are a lot of people that you can emulate, and a lot of people that you can idolize. So, sitting in this session, I'm going to take you through the different thought processes that we can have as a budding management professional. I was told that I need to highlight you on the functions of management, or managerial function, or what do managers do? Well, in my 18 to 20 years of experience, I should be able to tell you that managers do a lot of things which we do commonly in our everyday life. They're people like you and me. Except that, as you go further on, you might lose a lot of your hair. And the color of your hair will definitely turn from black to what you can see around me. What do managers do? Or what does a manager do? That's the question I'm putting forward to you, and probably trying to answer it more practically. When it comes to managers, who is this manager? You must have learned a little bit of management. I'm sure if you are from the commerce stream, you must have learned a little bit of management. If not, don't worry, you have still a long way to go so that you can learn what management is all about. Now, when it comes to the basic function of management, they say that what is management? That's one of the questions that you would hear in a management class. And they say it's the art of getting things done through others. That's the biggest and easiest definition I learned when I was in doing my MBA program, because I went from a non-science, non-management background, a non-commerce background, and I jumped into this field of management. So I was looking for a very easy definition of management, and the easiest definition that I had was management is the art of getting things done through others. Very beautiful definition. If you look at it, management is the art of getting things done through others. I like that word art. It's not something which is rigid. It's something which is very specific. It's something which is very dynamic, not specific. The flexibility is what comes into the field of management. The flexibility, the adaptability, the smartness. These are things which is part of the essence of what a manager does. Now, when you look at a manager, there's so many tags given to people, so many titles given: marketing manager, human resource manager, finance manager, operations manager, systems manager, and so on. So I asked a young MBA student, what did you want to be? And she said, I want to become a manager. So I asked her, what does a manager do? Then she said, a manager tells others to do everything. He said, then what does he do? He or she do? This is a manager is a person who is total control. A lot of curiosity. I kept on asking her more and more questions. And at the end of it, she said, I don't know. And she asked me, what is the right question right answer to this question? And I said, even I don't know. So everyone has the same feeling that I don't know. And what do we do when we don't know? We keep asking. We ask questions. We seek answers. And that's how we evolve. Now I'm far away from Delhi right now. I'm on a perfect holiday because I'm working from home. So wherever I work does not matter. So I'm on a perfect holiday. These are some of the reasons why technical glitches could happen. And this is one of the things that managers do. Wherever they are in control. Whatever they do, they have a finesse or a style in doing it. And that is what we are going to discuss here today. Now, if we ask what are the functions of management, you will say PODSCORB, planning, organizing, staffing, directing, control. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions that you will answer. But yes, while those are very important, I would like to see how we fit into these roles or these functions that people expect out of us. As a young management student, long years back, I was asking myself, why do I want to do an MBA? If my answer was I wanted to become a manager, then I better not become a. It's not necessary that you need to be an MBA to become a manager. But then why did you come in for an MBA and a BBA and so many things that we learn? It is to give us a cutting edge, a knowledge, to make us carry out the task that is assigned to us in the best possible manner. I told you at the start of it, the managerial functions, if you were to be asked, or you will be definitely taught in a management classroom, when you learn principles of management, or management thought, when you were to go into that, you will learn something like planning, organizing, directing, staffing, controlling, and so on. And you will have a definition, you will learn the processes and so on. That is very important. It's very theoretical, very important, because that sets the foundation for yourself. So you must have learned this word planning. What is this planning? We all plan. They say that if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Okay, so we all have to take courses of action. What course are we going to do? That's the part of the planning. What course of action? How are we going to do that? Why and how? That answers your question over there. Might be I'm not a stereotype teacher, so probably I will go off track rather than staying to the confines of a classroom and trying to give you inputs about a classroom. Those specific inputs your teachers will definitely give. Since this is a bridge course and in a basic course, I want to put a little bit of curiosity in you. Students, the next few years that you're going to be a BBA student should be full of curiosity, full of dynamism. You must explore and you must create something unique. Just like the founding excuse me, Just as the founding fathers of management, like Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor and Peter Drucker and so many else, you must also create a niche for yourself. You should also be a person capable of creating something important to the field of management. This is what I want you to do, because create, you must be able to create. You should not be somebody who's just doing what others are doing. You should be capable of creating something unique to the field of management. Just as we look at Jack Ma, we look at Jack Bezos and Jeff Bezos, we look at all the other big names like Cook and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and so on. Why can't you be? That should be your pursuit from today onwards. I'm going to create something new. I'm going to make people look at me and say, well, this is what an entrepreneur should do. This is what a manager should do. That's the thought that I'm going to give you to go ahead. Like the functions of management, I told you earlier, planning. And I said, if you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. Very strange thing, right? And all of us, we all plan a lot of things. We all plan a lot of things. But we fail to put it into action. We don't take the decisions that are relevant to put it into practice. Then management talks about a function called as organizing. What is organizing? Again, that becomes a question, that becomes a definition. We need to coordinate a lot of resources and a lot of functions or activities. When you say he's a very good organizer, that means this particular person is able to bring in the resources and collate or coordinate put together the activities. Might be streamlining it, might be getting it into a particular pattern and so on. So this person is capable of doing or getting things moving forward. There's a reason why I'm taking you through this, because ultimately I want to take you towards the end goal, take you towards the destination. So at the end of it, we should put all of them and say, oh, this is a beautiful piece of art. Physically, if you were present with me, I would have given you a lot of activities to do. But then since we are in remote corners, the efficacy or the efficiency of coordinating it might not be there. But don't worry, we are still there. I'm still there with you, or probably even after this session, I'm there with you to give if you feel you need some out of it. So we step from the functions of management, slowly moving from the planning one, we have gone to the organizing, and then we say leading. All of you are aware of this term leadership. Leadership, who's a leader? If I were to ask you who is a leader, you have so many leaders to talk about. We have our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. We have leaders that are around us. And we like to know what they do and why they do that. When the elections come, you will see that people who are good leaders are called for. They want them to be there. Why? Because they can attract people and they are able to motivate people to think and act in a particular manner. Leadership is very, very important. When we talk about this function of management, just putting it into the word leading, what do they do? They motivate and manage people. That's what leading is all about. You need not always be in front. If you have the charisma, your very presence can bring about a big change. This is something which is unique. When you say you're a manager, sometimes we will find a gap in some of these areas. That's the difference between a good manager and a manager, or an exquisite manager and a manager. I'm a big fan of cricket, even though I don't watch it. I like to read and understand about people. I was just going through a little bit of cricket. People from smaller towns are coming and are icons today. Earlier, all the cricketers came, especially in India, they came from the big cities. Things have changed. And I was trying to compare, I done a comparative study to find why were these former cricketers, from the main cities and not from the small towns and villages. And then I found that the exposure in the bigger cities, the sort of competition that was available, made them stronger, made them more adaptive, and they were able to cope up with the requirements of the higher levels, and so they were successful. The people who came from the ordinary areas, they felt that, oh, they are better off. So they gave up before the game started. So they were never in competition because they always felt that the others who are in the bigger towns were better. Thanks to the emergence of the television and the media that has really portrayed, people started dreaming a little bit more. They felt that even we could do that. It's not only for the big cities, the people from the big cities, it is even people from the smaller cities who started to dream. And then we had the emergence of cricketers from the smaller places who not only just played the game, but even also started walking into leadership roles. How did this happen? That's because you have the basic quality within you. The quality of the fighting spirit and the quality, the motivation from within, the self-motivating or the self-driven qualities that people have. And then they say the function of management is controlling, where you're able to set standards, monitor them, evaluate them, and be able to take things in the right perspective and the right channel. Well, these are very practical sides of it. I'm sure you'll have very specific things taught to you in your classroom. When I was a management student, after our first year, we went for a summer training. So I went to Jamshedpur, I went to Tata's in Jamshedpur, and I was there. So we learned a lot of theory in our classrooms, and we used to the theory part of it, extremely strong theory that we go into that. And while being there for this summer training, for 45 to 2 months of summer training, I was curious, because there were so many things that we learned in the classroom, and here we are trying to find out where are these things that we learned in the classroom. So we went around and we had to ask, what is this? Where is this? How do you do this? They said, no, we don't do that. This is how we do. This is what happens. We said, no, but there are some 8 steps that you have. They said, no, we now don't do the 8 steps. That is there, the foundation, but this is how we do this. Oh, we felt like it was a big sin that they were committing because they were not doing it the way. Because if we wrote only 2 points in our examination, we were not given marks. But here we saw that these things were happening in a different pattern. That's what theory and practice. So theory is the base. When it really happens, they're slightly different from what we probably learn in a classroom. That's the beauty of it. You learn well, you can do very well in your in the playing field. That means in your real profession, you are a good student, you have learned it, things are very smooth when it comes to your workplace. So I'm giving you a clue to tell you that even if it is difficult today to sit in your classroom and attend the lectures and do all the assignments, there is something good coming after this. Probably some of you might go on to work and then get back to a management program or something else later. But at the same time, the motivation is that the toughest part will be over in your studies, and the easiest and smarter thing is when you are transferring or translating yourself into a work arena. That's the beauty of working, and that's why managers always are relaxed. Students have a lot of things to do, a lot of assignments, a lot of things. Come with this feeling that I'm going to do something different than what it is in my academics. I probably am giving you a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift that Stephen Covey talks about. Have that change in you. Well begun is half done. So before you start this program, you are taken through a bridge course, and you're given the inputs of what you are going to do and how you're going to do. I'm giving you a clue that there should be a paradigm shift in you. From your 12th to what it is right now, there should be a change. There should be a shift. Every semester that you are doing it, there should be a paradigm shift. You should not be what you were in 12th standard when you're starting your BBA program. Each semester that you move on, first semester, second semester, there should be a change in the way that you move forward. Of course, you'll have a lot of knowledge, a lot of exposure, but each time that you go from semester to semester, month by month, or week by week, there should always be a positive change. And this positive change is what makes you different. That should be the capacity and capability that you're going to build from today onwards. I'm just not going to stick to what the topic is all about, because I feel that if you're curious enough, sky's the limit. If you're smart enough, sky's the limit. But if you limit yourself, then your limit is your limit. If not, sky is the limit. But if you limit yourself, then that limit is the limit. And that's going to be the difference between a smart professional that's going to emerge out of a BBA program and a graduate. When you finish your program, or when you finish each of these semesters, you should have moved from one stage to the other, ultimately reaching where you are supposed to reach. While doing agriculture, we had a trimester system. In 1 year, we have three trimesters. Each trimester used to have 8 to 10 courses, 8 or sometimes 9 or 10 courses. The time that you spend is just not along with books. Every day there is a quiz exam. It's not fixed. You could walk into a class and you could have your the quiz papers given to everyone with negative marks. So if you don't really put yourself completely into a class, clear your doubts, it will be difficult for you to really cope up with the demands of a program. It is good that you would be with Netflix and Spotify and so many things, or Hotstar and so many things. But also think about, if that is not going to help you, reduce it. It should not be more of Netflix and less of studies. It should be more of studies and a little bit of Netflix and Spotify and Hotstar and so on. So, coming into this field, as a manager, there are a lot of basic qualities that you are supposed to imbibe. One of the best qualities that a manager would require is communication. I place a lot of emphasis on communication. I'm not just talking about the language. I'm not telling in terms of per se Hindi or English or Marathi or Gujarati or Malayalam or Tamil or Telugu or anything. No. I'm talking about the articulation of your language. Whatever language you speak, whether you speak Chinese or French or German, you should be specific and smart enough to articulate that language. When you are giving a business talk, have specific, smart language so that when people listen to you, you will be listened to. When you speak, people will listen to you, not just hear, they will listen to you. That's one of the qualities that you young people should be able to imbibe. You must be asking me a question. Why are you telling us all these things? Dear students, today I'm just telling you, but when you finish your program and move into either an entrepreneurial role or an entrepreneurial role or a managerial role, though these will be some of those qualities that will be required out of you. They say Rome was not built in a day. Careers are not built in a day. It is a lot of hard work and toil that ultimately makes a career. Management, as I said, is very dynamic. So as you go on, you need to collect a lot of inputs for yourself, a lot of skills for yourself, so that by the time you're ready to take the plunge into this field of management or business, you would have had a lot of things that you would have kept in your armory. The skills that you have imbibed, which are required for your basic survival in this field of management, you should have imbibed it. Right now, in the semester by semester, you should imbibe it. Some of them are there already with you. But you should start nurturing it and perfecting it so that you can have a very efficient skill that you keep in your armory. So that when you have to shoot the arrow, you just take it and then shoot it. So that's how you need to work. You need to work in a way that you work with a plan and with a purpose. Then you will be sought after as a manager and you will be sought after as a person. I said communication. Communication is very, very important. It is just not that you have to speak. Sometimes writing. And you can also nurture a body language which is very managerial-like and very business-like. Very managerial-like and very business-like. Because when we had this class in body language, that used to be an extra course given to us, and we had to really evaluate. We needed to evaluate ourselves. We needed to evaluate others. We were taught certain etiquettes and manners. We were taught as to how we should eat, use the fork and spoon, and so many things that we were taught at that point of time. We were curious because we were thinking, why do we need all these things? But as I went on along in my career, I found some of them very, very important for me because I already knew it. I just needed to put it into practice. Communication is something that you must spend your strong time on. Because communication is a lifeline. It can open doors which are closed. You can convert no's into yeses and yeses into no's if you really know how to put across a word in the right manner and the right style. I'm talking to you from my experience. Experience says that if you can communicate well, nothing is impossible. This is one of the qualities as a young manager. You should start nurturing from today so that when you emerge as a contender for a managerial position, an entrepreneurial position, you've already been empowered with the gift of absolute communication. Clear, smart, specific. So start now. Better late than never. Communication, the first one. What can I tell you again? I would say develop your leadership skills. Develop your leadership skills. Why? Because every person is a leader in his own right. Every person is a leader in his or her own right. I'm sure there are very young girls too in this session. I should not leave them out because that's the emerging field of management where we find a lot of smart professionals being ladies. The world is going to know them when they lead organizations and become entrepreneurs. Right? Leadership is one area you must develop. Why? Because it is through leadership that you can put into practice what you have in your mind, as well as you can get the right people to carry out the plans that you have to be done. I said management is the art of getting things done through others. So it is through this process of leadership that you will be able to translate what is within you into action. You will learn the way of getting people to do what you want them to do. Suppose I ask you to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure you will say, oh, Felton, it's so cold in the morning. Delhi is very cold. I know it's very cold. It's impossible. But if I am able to talk your way into telling you that this is something that you must do for this particular purpose, and you surprise all people around you, including yourself, and you feel that is a better reason to wake up at 3 o'clock, and you do it whether it's summer or winter. This comes through leadership. You are not only doing it because of your intrinsic effort, but you're also doing it because somebody has told you in the right manner how to do it and why to do it. This is how we motivate and manage people. The organization that I work for, I have people who are very young, 25, 30, 35. And during this pandemic, to get them go on overseas projects, everyone a little bit hesitant. You sit down with them, you talk to them, you show them the plan. You add a little bit of words which they can go back and think about or ponder about. They come back always with an answer telling that, yeah, done, I'm going. You just leave it to them. You discuss with their family. See if there is a reason for you to go. If not, come out with your backup plans. 9 out of 10 times, they come back saying, yes, we are willing to go. You're not sending somebody into a problem. You're giving them the chance to decide for themselves, take decisions, whether it is the right option or not. Now, we as managers at that point of time, we also keep our backup plans. That if X says no, Y will definitely go because we know. But the best option for us is X going there. But if X says no, Y is already molded into that role. So that's why they say leadership is very important. Now, for a BBA, a young BBA student, you can emerge as a leader with small groups. Everything starts in a small package, and then it grows. Like the seed is the smallest thing, and it grows into a bigger tree or a shrub or a bush. So you should start nurturing this leadership skill. Might be take the initiative. One of the best things to do is to take the initiative, because when you take the initiative, things start moving. Don't be in a state of inertia. You need to be always moving, active. That's one of the qualities of a leader. Leader is not like a leader is somebody who is always on the move, bringing about a change and bringing about the change not just to yourself but to the people around you. They have a magnetism, a charisma. They will be able to show their dreams to others and make them realize that their dreams can be achieved. So those are what I call as leaders. Are you one of them? Are you one of them? Small skills, that I'm bringing about for you. I'm giving you some very small skills. I said communication. I said leadership, which includes motivation and managing people. Then comes time. I know I'm touching on something which might not go well with many of you because you're young. You're young. Time and tide waits for none. Time and tide waits for none. Why? You look at your clock. Once the clock starts ticking, it does not go back. It will come back again, but with a new vision. 11 o'clock came and went. I was feeling bad because the technical problem was at my end. Probably took some time to regroup. I was really terribly upset because it never happened. And probably thanks to technology, it happened. So we all lost 1 hour, but I'm so sad that each one of you who are there in this session right now, each one of you lost 1 hour each because you were waiting. And that is something which is unpardonable. Because, and one of the reasons for that is I should put my hand up and say I'm sorry. But that sorry will not solve the problem. Why? Because so much of time has gone to waste. So I have to now write down what did I learn from this. Practice makes one perfect. Always check before you really go in. It's always good that you have a trial run in helping people utilize the time. Time and tide, as I said, waits for none. Dear students, if you know the value of time, because each one of us is given 24 hours, what are we doing those? I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You might ask, why? Are you crazy? Well, my dear students, it's just not because of crazy. That's my professional requirement. If you have a discussion with a team which sits remotely in Australia, and you know that Wednesday is going to be your meeting day with them, and they work in a different time zone, you need to be there. I needed to be prim and prime by the time the meeting started at 4:30. When Dr. Hoti told me that this is going to be a program, the first time I think I checked is this going to clash with my meeting? I knew the meeting would be for 2 hours. Okay, I'm there. Time is very precious. You should give you the right returns. There should be an ROI of time. I'm surrounded with a lot of things around me, including books. If you see, I have this, so many things which are for you and some other things for the others. I know the importance of time because when you missed out on 1 hour, when I was asked to log in after 12, I quickly went on to utilize the time so that I could send few of my mails, check my mails, and keep update with what is happening and telling people that I'm not available because I have another commitment till this time. That is the importance of time. You must identify your time wasters, because many of us don't have the time because we are too many time wasters. We must gain our time, reduce your time wasters. I'll give you a small example. Excuse me. Suppose I'm just sitting here and I'm supposed to read a document. And I keep a mobile with me and I say, well, I'm going to do something with this. I'm also checking something and doing the work. Neither will I finish my reading, nor will I check this patiently. Instead, what I do is I keep this completely away. I focus on the task at hand. Let it be, I put it on silent mode so nothing disturbs me. I finish my task because I've given half an hour time for this particular task. I finish it, and then I go back and take my mobile or anything that I need to do, because I need to focus on my task rather than mixing so many things and making it a mess. Utilize your time in a very smart manner. Take your decisions well. That's one more thing which I want to tell you. Take your decisions well, or make your decisions well. Why? Because the consequences of a wrong decision is long lasting. So whenever you make a decision, either you must have the gift of intuition, where you're spot on with your decisions. If not, you must be a good analyst. Might be sometimes you need to be a quick analyst and analyze things and take a right decision. Don't be indecisive. That is important even in your career. Never be indecisive. Take a decision either to do it or not to do it. And if you say you're going to do it, you must have the process of doing it and the plan of doing it, and then put that into action. So don't be indecisive. You must be able to take your decisions at the right time, the right way, and once you take the decision, you stick with it, other than proved otherwise. We're coming closer towards the managerial functions. And here we are talking about some of the skills that you need to nurture. Your communication, your leadership, your motivation, and then your decision, your time. Small things here and there. Be a good learner. Next is be a good learner. By learning, you can learn by observing, you can learn by reading, you can learn by experiencing, but you should always learn. Your knowledge should not be what it was yesterday. They should always be an addition to your knowledge each day. The sun should not set on you without your knowledge of today being better than yesterday. This is the challenge that you are going to take. You are going to be an exquisite knowledge accumulator. You need to be a good knowledge accumulator. Today, you have so many avenues. There's so many avenues for you to accumulate knowledge. They say, if everything, go to Google. I would say, if everything, go to your teacher and then go to Google. Your knowledge will be perfect. First, go to your teacher or your guru and then go to Google. Not the other way. If not, you will go with a bias. Go first to your teacher with empty hands or with the empty plate. Fill as much as possible from the teacher, and then fine-tune whatever you have. You will have the best bottle of knowledge. Don't go to Google, then go to the teacher. Go to your teacher, go to Google, which must well. Try it. It's worth it. And perfectly, you have some of the best teachers that will be around you. and utilize your time with them so that you will have something best coming out of them. Teachers have put a lot of toil. You will share, you will gain their knowledge through them. You gain your knowledge and you perfect it with a further reading. You can get back and share it with the others, because when you share, it multiplies. That's something that you need to do, and these are basic steps for you to become something better when you step on managerial program. Language, communication, leadership, decisions, and be organized. Now, when I say organized, haste makes waste. If you don't put it in the right perspective, or too little to be done. So you need to get things in the right perspective. Put them in proper channels. For me, my early mornings, now that I'm working from home, there's a time for meditation, there's a time for prayer, there's a time for exercise, there's a time for everything. I stick to those, and at the end of the day, I do an evaluation and I find that, yes, I've utilized my time, my energy, my effort in a systematic manner. I was told that, this program is going to be for 3 hours. So I usually like to take small breaks in between, and that's the way I work. So today I was told about this 3 hours. So what did I do? I organized myself. I got so many cushions, to be by my side, so that I can sit well, relaxed, and carry out this program for a longer period of time. If not, while this program, I'll find a little bit pain, and then I'll be looking around. No, now I'm not. I'm totally comfortable. I got everything organized. I have even water kept here close to me. So if in case I need to drink a little bit of water, I can take it. I have my pen, my internet, so many things, except that certain technical things are beyond me, for which I got very good advice from people who are sitting remotely in GIPS right now, and who have given me the inputs, including Anu Madam and Dr. Ghosh and Dr. Hoti and so on, who have given me the inputs, and that's how I'm doing it right now.
Thank you, sir, for the mention.
Oh, you love it, because you've been very patient with me. So this is how these things happen. This is how these things happen. And these are skills that you must put into practice. Young students who are sitting in this session, I'm sure many of you are at home, or probably you're outside, or you're away from home, or wherever you are. Take it from me. If you have knowledge, no one will put you under a bushel. One of the biggest things that I carry with myself is my communication and the accumulated experience and knowledge. I was being asked by Madam, do you have anything to share with these people, any PPT? I said, no, I usually speak extempore. And if ever the students require more inputs, I have already prepared it. I can share it on an email, which the students can use for themselves. I always believe in interacting with people. And I say interaction, it's not, now it's monotonous. I was happy that when Anu Madam came in between to tell me that, yes, thanks for the mention. Yeah, that's something, that's the only interaction that I probably have. All of you have been asked to mute yourself. Probably I could ask questions. I really don't know. I can see 96 people having logged in. Right? So I would say read as much as possible. Read as much as possible, not just your books. I'm just not telling you to read only your books. I would tell you, read about anything that interests you. Because this knowledge that you get from what interests you could translate into a business later. One of my nephews used to read a lot of comics, a lot of comics at one point of time. So I used to tell him, no, don't do this. He said, please, uncle, let me read. Years later, he has animated these comics. He's part of a big multinational which is working towards animation of these comics. So he said, uncle, did I not tell you then? I said, no, I had no issues at all. Because I'm old school. I thought that reading too much of comics would take away your time. He said, no, I always had this feeling that I wanted to make a movie out of this. But today, he has animated them and it's available for people. It's part of a game. And he's found a great business in this. So read as much as possible. Don't just stick to only your books. You need to enlarge your horizon. It's only when you enlarge your horizon that you will be able to be a great utility. Like when I used to come earlier from my early days of Gita Ratan, I think 2013 onwards, I started coming to Gita Ratan. So from that time onwards, I had Dr. Chaturvedi over there. So I used to sit with them. I used to always love to come there and sit there because there's so many things I learned. Right from the scripture, right from management, you name it, I used to learn. Then as I went on, I got so many teachers from that place. I started interacting with Dr. Hoti, with Dr. Dr. Andrew, with Dr. Ghosh and Dr. Sheetal, so many people. And now I'm interacting with Anu Madam. Every person is a source of knowledge and information. Don't let go of this chance. If you have your teacher, don't go the other way. Confront this teacher. When I say confront, it's not going to fight. You meet the teacher. The way they walk, the way they talk is a learning for you. The way they talk about is a learning for you. The way they manage a classroom is a learning for you. Keep it. Take it as a trickle. Store it. That's important for the future. If not for today, it's important for the future. One of my best teachers, Dr. George Thomas, was very specific, very disciplined. Is the reason why today I am disciplined and very specific. 30 years back, what I learned from him is probably what I'm putting today into practice. This is what you need to do. Be in pursuit of knowledge. Be in pursuit of learning. Madam, is there something you want to convey to me?
No, sir. No, sir.
So, Madam, when will the session end?
As per your convenience, sir.
No, if you can give me a time so that I can go on with my text.
There is no time limit, sir. Totally as per convenience.
The students don't have a problem.
No, they don't.
No. That's a wrong question to ask the students.
Obviously.
Sure. Yeah, because dear students, at one point of time, we too were students. So please bear with us. So whatever I'm sharing with you is something that you, when probably my earthly life was over, you might be putting it into practice. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's all learning out of my love and interest to see that you change. I'm sharing my experience with you. Definitely not a copybook style of teaching you, but here I'm giving you a dynamic side which will definitely be something useful for you in future, if not today, for the future. So I said learn as much as possible. I used to set a target of 35 books for a year. Okay. And this year it has been fantastic. Already I've completed more than 50 books. Thanks to the lockdown, the external entertainment wasn't there, and I finished so many books. Some of them were very challenging, I started going into ebooks, a lot of ebooks, and then into podcast and so many things that made me. Now I feel I should go and do one more MBA. Probably join Gibbs and sit in a classroom and learn international business. So always be a learner and show the enthusiasm. Don't be dull. Show the enthusiasm. You might fail and rise up like the phoenix. You might be dull. Wait for the dull moment is just for a moment. There is always going to be a sunrise after a sunset. After the day comes night, and then we wait for the next day. That's the positivity that we have. So these are some of the things that you must nurture as a student. Just not because you're a BBA student. When I say learning can happen from your books, through experience, by watching, and concerted effort of creating. Everything is not always set. Some of them you can make and then it might break. But you will learn from the breaking, and then next time you make it, it will be a better break. I tried to create a sort of a garden. I created it well and I kept it. My dog came there and broke it completely. I came here and a dog, out of curiosity, put it aside, and all my hard work of 2 to 3 hours went to waste. The easiest thing is to find fault with the dog. I asked, what went wrong? Why did the dog break it so easy? Then I made the rock garden a little bit stronger because I knew that the binding or the bonding was not strong. So when a small little dog had just touched it, the entire thing collapsed. I made the next one. Put a little bit of effort. From my failure, I learned it. Now I wanted the dog to test it. Dog learned from the experience. The dog did not come and do it because the dog knew that now if I go and do this, I might fail. First time I succeeded. The dog never came to it. So still, I have not tested its efficacy or the efficiency, but I go about telling that it is staying now for 2 months. So that's a learning for me. I go by the learning that I bonded it well, and since it's bonded well, it cannot break that easily, and it will stay for a longer period of time. Till proved otherwise. Might be I'll get a stronger dog and something else might come and break it down. I might learn from that. I will find what went right and what went wrong. And wherever things have gone wrong, I'm going to put it together and I'm going to build a better structure. Right? So that is something that I've learned from my experience. I failed so many times, and each time I fail, I don't give up. I step up there, I move, I see, I find what went right, what went wrong. A little bit of disheartening things happening, but still I don't give up. I reinvent myself and try to make myself a better me. And the better me, every day is a better me, better me. I know that, okay, yesterday's me was not so good, so today's me has to be better than yesterday. So that's how I go about with life, accumulating for myself things that will make me better. Things that will make me better. Things that will make me closer to being perfect. I just don't want to be perfect. I want to go towards perfection. So there's every day something that I can add on to. Now, take for example, now I play the guitar. I've forgotten, last so many years I haven't played the guitar. Now I started getting back, and now my hands are not so easily movable. It pains me. When I when I press my fingers on the strings, it pains me. I could have given up, but no, I did not. I started, somebody said you get the silicon, when I said, no, I was not used to silicon grips. Let me go about doing what I know best. 10 days was tough, but today I got back the old lesson of strumming, when I moved from chord to chord and when I strummed the guitar. I got back to the stage which I was earlier, even though I did not practice it much. And now I got some extra skills. And that's exactly what I want you people to do. You might not use many of the skills which are accumulating today, but someday down the line, when in the rigors of a managerial career or in the field of management, entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship, you will find its utility out of nowhere. It must be somewhere in your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. It will just come out and you will start using it. Why? Because you had already stored it here. Good or bad, it's there with you. So students, and as you are sitting in this session, looking into managerial skills, it is just not planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. It's all about you. The person that you are, the skills, the talent, the innate qualities that are within you. Learn the art of bringing it out and putting it into practice. Learn the art of bringing it out. What is implicit, let it become explicit. Never miss an opportunity to showcase your talent. Never miss an opportunity to showcase your talent. Don't move away telling them, I'm not so good. It is only through your not so good that you can become perfect. Because if you say, I'm not so good and move away from it, you will never be able to become somebody. Do and fail, it's okay. Failure is a good teacher. Failure is a good teacher. Mistakes are good teachers. But for this, you must do. So be a doer and not just somebody who just thinks and not do it. Be a doer. Do it and fail. Do it and succeed. That will make you stronger. Right? So these are some of the things which I shared with you so long. They've been very generic. They've been very generic. But you must make it very specific for yourself. You must make it very specific for yourself. Every day without fail, if you see, I have this book with me, which I write with a day and date, and I keep writing it. This book is over now. Now I have a new book which I've started. It's not around me right now. The new book which I've started. What are these? My thoughts and my action for the day. What I've done and what I've not done. I write it down in it, and that makes it very, very useful for me to go back and find out where I was on the 1st of November. What were the changes that have happened? What were my learnings? And what did I put into practice? It's a very good evaluation for me, a good feedback for me. They say feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Oh, that's amazing. That's something we need to nurture, because they say have breakfast like a king. Have breakfast like a king. So here they say feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. When we get feedback, let it be negative feedback or a positive feedback. Always try to find out what went right, what went wrong, what is your learning. So be enriched with this feedback, because the feedback will make you a better you. The feedback will make you a better you. Because as a manager, there are different roles that you're going to play. You will play a role of an informational person. You will disseminate information. You will monitor information, or probably you could be a spokesperson. For my organization, I'm a spokesperson when it comes to projects. Whenever it comes to project, I'm the spokesperson who will disseminate this information to the clients. When we go live or any stage of the project, I'm the spokesperson. I double up as a corporate and market communication or a project communication person, though my role is different. But when it comes to this, I have this role, an informational role. And that is why I said, if you are a good communicator, you will be able to monitor information, you will be able to disseminate information, and you can be a good spokesperson. When I said monitor, you should know what we require at the right time. Do we have it? Do we don't have it? Disseminator, the person who gives. Now, when it comes to giving information, don't give everything that is there. You should know which information to give and when. Suppose you ask me, what is your name? And I say, my name, my age, and so many other things. Not necessary. You just wanted my name. But if I know that if I add something onto that, you'll be curious and I can build a better rapport with you, then I will add it. See? This is why I said your role, the roles that managers play is informational. You either are a person who monitors information, who gives information, or probably a person who talks on behalf, a spokesperson. So this is why I told you at the start of it, the communication is very important. I play a very multi-dimensional role in my organization. Out of the 250 people that we have around and few abroad, I play a multi-dimensional role. I'm like a person with so many hats that I put on. Well, human resources is my strength. I've always believed that I'm a better human resource person than elsewhere. Systems is not probably one of my best skills, but I understand basic things, what is required for my task. Marketing and sales too. This is a newly attained skill, is digital marketing. I put my heart and soul into that to find more things about it. Finance, I'm not. I might be able to count few notes, but beyond that, no. But still, that did not stop me from going on to find out what it is all about. When it comes to the technology, especially the technology that we work on, we are with Microsoft Dynamics. So there are these things. So I understand it more or less because I need to talk to my clients. I need to be the spokesperson, or probably working on corporate communication or project communication for them. So at that point of time, I have to be an informational. I have to play the role of an informational person as a managerial role. That's the first one. The second one is interpersonal. Interpersonal. I don't need to explain what interpersonal. Intrapersonal is within yourself. Interpersonal is me and somebody else. I could discuss, when I had this problem, Anu Madam, Ghosh sir, and Ohoti sir, they all came into to help me out of this. That's interpersonal, playing a team game. They advised me, they asked me to do certain things. So I got a lot of things from them. It's because of the interpersonal. I had one call and then something else being done. So many things added together, I was able to do the task. Or probably they helped me to do the task which I'm doing right now. Right? So what happened over here? What happened over here was a task that was given to me, which I was able to do it. Okay, so this is an interpersonal. Interpersonal meaning sometimes you have to perform certain duties, like welcoming a person. I'll just give you a small little thing. Now, suppose when you are going to the campus, on the first day of your going to the campus, Dr. Andrew and Dr. Hoti could be there, or the whoever is in charge will be there, because they will initiate, they will welcome you into the organization. Why? Because they play a figurehead role over here. It's very interpersonal because they get you into the initiation, the induction program which you're going in right now. Everything is part of that. So they play a very figurehead. As I told you earlier, because I'm one of the oldest members in my organization. So sometimes it's good, because even if you do something, commit a mistake, people will be very good with you and say, Felton, I feel that it could have been done like this. But I force them to tell that, Felton, you committed a mistake. But nobody tells them. They rather go around telling that, Felton, this could have been done like this. So sometimes age gives you a leverage. But I believe that if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whether you are young or old, you should be able to tell. So that's what a figurehead would do in an interpersonal relationship. Sometimes we relate to each other in different roles. Sometimes you play a leadership role, and sometimes you play a liaison role. Collating, bringing people together. So this is the second role that managers play. In addition to being an informational disseminator or probably an accumulator, you're also you play an interpersonal role in which you need to get things happening. As I told you at the start, one of the crude definitions of management is the art of getting things done to others. And not all 5 fingers are the same. They're different. You see them in size and shape, which are different. So just like this, in an organization too, people are different. In a home, you find people are different. So naturally, when it is in an organization with people coming from different homes, it could be different. So where you must be able to play a very good interpersonal role. The next part of this particular one is the liaison role. In a liaison role, as I told you, we play a lot of collated work, and that's a very interpersonal role that we play. The third role that we play is the decisions. I don't need to tell you what a decision is. Decision is choosing among the different alternatives that you have. Now, the different alternatives that I had was these were the things that I had with me. But none of them really supported me. I went back to my old laptop. So I need to say a big thanks to my laptop, because when everything failed, this which I never used much came to my rescue. Right? So this was what we call as a decisional role. We play decisional roles as managers. Take, for example, it could be an entrepreneur, the owner of the organization, has to take a decision. Right? So be an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. There are decisions to be taken. So you have a decisional role as an entrepreneur, a crisis handler. We all had a crisis. You logged in at 10:55, and then I was introduced, and after that nothing happened. So there was a crisis. Already the program was scheduled from 11 to 1, and then it moved from 12 to 2. So sad. Right? Now we have few more minutes left. As I take you through this, there are few more minutes left. Probably half an hour left. I know since you are at home, you're okay with that, because you can do whatever you want to. But to tell you about this, as an entrepreneur, as a crisis handler, you need to also allot resources. Everyone will ask for funds. Everyone will ask for people. So you should be able to give resources in the right measure. Because everyone, whenever we ask in organizations, now what's the ideal team size that you require? There's more people. There's always cost, and we need to have a return on it. So whenever we ask managers, if I give you 2 more people, what is the reward that you would give me? What the return that we would get? And many of them say that no, currently we are doing this, we need 2 more people. All said and done, well, it's working well with so many people. Now, if I'm giving you 2 extra people, what is the incremental income or the revenue that's going to come in? And that is the justification. So as a manager, when you take your decisions, you need to be a good resource allocator. Not the last but not the least, as part of the negotiator of the decision maker, that you should be a good negotiator. Well, I come from South, where bargaining is not one of our strengths, probably. I picked this from Delhi. Now they say that why do you bargain with the poor traders outside? We don't do it inside. But I learned the fine art of doing it, thanks to the different markets that Delhi has. I learned the fine art of bargaining well. I get what I wanted. I feel that I always get a better deal. It could just be a satisfactory or a thing that satisfies me, but still I feel so. Excuse me. In this same role that we are talking about, it is definitely decisional. It's definitely a decision to negotiate well. Now, what is this negotiation? As a manager, you should feel that you have got the right thing out of a discussion with somebody else. In a managerial role, you might have to negotiate, might be in terms of people, practices, processes, interaction with the external people, so many things that we have to negotiate on. Mainly, there are 3 main roles that managers play. One is the informational, the second is the interpersonal, and the third is the decision. Now, I'm not ending my talk as such. I'm just going to tell you, you must have heard of, okay, managers are different. Based on the skill sets, managers carry out different tasks. Based on the skill sets, managers handle different tasks. Now, what are these tasks that managers handle? Now, some of you might say, well, it's a specialization. Yes. What is a specialization? A specialization is something that we have, which you're good at, which we are good at. Take, for example, if a musician, I might be a vocalist, I might be a singer, right? And all people who play the instrument, I could play the piano, I could play the keyboard, I could play the banjo, I could play the guitar, I could play the violin, I could play the drums. Each person has a different role to play. You can't say just because you're playing the guitar, you might be able to. Might be. But not necessarily that just because I play the guitar, I play the keyboard, I play the violin, I need not always be a good singer. I might not understand music, but I need not be a good singer. I could be a good singer, but not a good. I might understand the way that the music goes, but I need not be a good player of the drums or the different musical instruments. Just like this, managers do specialize. They could specialize in marketing. They could specialize in human resources, in finance, in operations, in logistics, or in systems. There are so many more specializations that you could have. Now, human resources, as the word itself says, they're the people who deal with people. If I'm going by a very bookish, this one, getting the right person for the right job. But what do these human resource people do? They nurture the people. They find talent, There might be in talent acquisition, talent retaining, employee engagement, the entire gamut of recruitment. The technical side of human resources must be you're a good, you might be a human resource analyst, you could be a generalist, you could be an OD specialist, right? So there could be different roles that is human resource, but ultimately the role of the human resource person is more of finding the right people, nurturing them, and getting the best out of them. Probably motivating them, probably promoting them, probably compensating them. It's the entire gamut of the function of human resources. Earlier they called it personal management. It's evolved, it's evolved, it's evolved. It's today again going into a micro specialization even in the field of human resources. So we have an OD specialist, we have a talent acquisition person, we have the talent retaining person, we have people who are specialized in induction. It's become so micro specialized. But the broad spectrum, let's just put them as human resource professionals. These are roles which managers do, and they take care of the people at work. And all those things around the people at work, whether it's the planning, whether it's the implementation, whether it's the organizational development or the organizational org structures, everything happens through this function called as human resource management. Okay, so if you're curious about human resource management, you can even specialize in this field of human resources, and you can go on to do your ultimate masters or the higher levels of your studies in this field of human resource management. It's a very challenging one because we are working with people, and you will learn. You cannot, one size does not fit all. You should be able to be a good resource allocator, a good quick learner. Then the field of human resource is for you. Now, earlier it was supposed to be a field in which many women stepped into. Now, the citadel is slowly falling, and a lot of men have come into this field of human resource management. A lot of men. Everyone felt that it was very meant for women. No longer. The men have gone into this field, and especially in the field of learning and development, all these things. There's so many people, training and development, and learning and development. Things, so many things that go around it, everything. I'm sorry. I've.
Sir, you're audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible, sir.
Sorry, it just went off. I'm getting connected back. Okay. So I was talking about marketing, the entire gamut of the product, the service, the customer, the advertisement, the pricing, the promotion, all the 4 P's of an organization regarding is connected or done by these people. The sales channel, the channel of distribution, everything is done by these group of people who specialize in the field of marketing. I might be very crude in telling about what marketing is all about. It's just not in terms of numbers. Many people feel that there's a target, and it's a very dynamic field, worth challenging, a lot of curiosity, a lot of dynamism that are there in this field of marketing. It was a very strong male-dominated area, if I'm again not mistaken, and if I can put in my comments. But that citadel has fallen, and there are a lot of good sales and marketing people who are women. So I'm giving you some clues, even if they are young women who are attending this webinar, I'm giving you a clue that don't say, no, it's not for me. It's meant for you too. It was a citadel of men, but no longer. Then part of that is the digital marketing, which is also now part of it. Because when you talk about marketing today, people talk about digital marketing because we are living in a digital world, and social media marketing and so many things. You have a fantastic opportunity in this field for which you need to be updated and upgraded for you to really get connected with this field of marketing. It's something where I started my career with. When I joined Godrej, I joined in the field of sales and marketing. Even though I did not have my best skills in sales and marketing, that was my first job, which they picked me from the campus. So I stayed with them for 2.5 years, and that was a good learning to make me believe that I had a skill in marketing. I had a dual specialization in marketing and human resources. I always knew I was a better human resource person, but thanks to this stint in sales and marketing, it made my stint in the field of human resource stronger. Now, you have the logistics, the people who manage the entire supply chain, or probably the inventory side of it. So this is also one area which is highly automated, and it's an area in which you can learn a lot of things. It's a challenging, probably they are adding purchase and dissemination of resources, and all those things comes into the logistics part of it, which could be a motivation for many of you to be part of. If that is challenging, look into it. You have fields like operations management, and these are the people who actually keep the wheel going. The wheel going, where you play a very licensed role within the organization. Then comes finance. I'm sure when I talk about finance, many of you must be having an attunement to step into this field of finance. So these are the people who look at the fund generation, utilization of funds, the ROI, the investment. All these things are done by these people in the field of finance. When you talk about a manager per se, it is something where these people play with the numbers, because they're the people who generate the revenue, and they are the people who know what is to happen and why it is to happen, why it should be, and how you should borrow, why you should borrow, how you're going to do it. All these things are done by these people in the field of finance. Then comes systems, which is again, many of you must be curious to step into this field of systems. They manage the hardware and the software and the connectivity and the networking of the entire organization. What is required for smart working of organizations, the automation of the organizations, all these things are done by these people who manage the systems functions. The software required, the hardware required, whether the cloud support is required. All these things are taken by the systems. And from this comes the CIO, the Chief Information Officer, the CHRO, from the field of human resource, the Chief Human Resource Officer, and from the marketing comes the CMO, and from finance comes the CFO, and from the operations side you get the COO, and one who is totally an all-rounder becomes the leader, and he becomes the CEO. He could come from the field of marketing, he could come from the field of human resource, he can come from the field of systems or finance. Earlier there was a general feeling that all CEOs came from finance, but now you see CEOs coming from the field of no, earlier it was all CEOs came from the field of marketing, and then slowly people started emerging from the other fields and so on. But my advice to each one of you who's part of the session, always have multiple skills with you. I shared with you what I was. I first joined in the field of sales and marketing. Godrej picked me from the campus. They gave me an offer telling that they gave me an offer for human resources. But I spoke my way out of it and ultimately got them to believe that I was a better marketing and salesperson than being a human resource person. Now, thanks to my second skill, which is my best skill, which is human resources, and the other accumulated things that I have, it made me a better fit in organizations. And whenever there was a chance of letting go of or laying off people, Felton always found a reason to be part of a retained human resource. It's because of my multiple skills. But never become a jack of all trades and master of none. Have one of those skills which is with you, your best skill, which you can take it at when you're woken up from your sleep, you can take it. I remember when I was introduced by Madam at the start of the session. She was telling a long list of things, my certifications. Now, if you were to ask me, Felton, why did you do all these things? Sometimes it's because it was available to be learned. Sometimes it's because the organization gave it to me. And sometimes because I felt that when I leave all these work, I want to do something which befits my skill and my personality. So that's the reason why I have accumulated some of these skills. So these are small things that I have to share with you. And if you want to ask me any questions, with the permission of the coordinator, I can take some of the questions. Madam, if they can ask some of the questions, I'm okay with asking. Or
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening us with your words of wisdom. You have inspired us today, and I hope our students are also motivated. Our attendees have raised many questions, and we would request you to acknowledge at least few of them. The first question is, can you recommend some good book to read that would motivate or inspire us to become a good manager or leader?
See,
Shall I repeat?
yes, I will tell you. One of the best books I would always recommend you to read is Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One more book which has always made me childlike and learning has been this book, The Monk Who Sold the Ferrari, Robin Sharma. The Monk Who Sold by Ferrari, and this book, Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one more question is, one more book which I would suggest is The Questions Change My Life. Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. That is Marley Adams. I can share these books. Definitely, I can share these inputs on these books. Change your questions, change your life. That's something which is amazing. It's amazing. 7 Habits, a must-read book. The Monk Who Sold the Ferrari, one more book. It will give you some inputs which will motivate you to try something better. Of course, you can read Bill Gates. You can read Hit Refresh by Satya Nadella. It's a very nice book to talk about a very Indian young man becoming the CEO of one of the world's best organizations, which is Microsoft. If you can read that book, Hit Refresh, that's something amazing. That's a book for young people. You can put your career on the right track if you know what Satya Nadella did to make him what he is today. Sorry.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one student who is very keen to know whether you belong to a science background or not.
Whether I belong to a science background.
Yes.
No, madam, can you? She wants to know whether I belong to a science background.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He wants to know whether you belong to a science
I,
background or not.
yes. Now, a young student, I do belong to a science background. As you heard at the start, I did my BSc in agriculture. I went on to do my MBA with a dual specialization of human resource and marketing from Symbiosis Pune. And the rest of it is, I again went into the field of psychology as well. So I've been a very pure science student. And it was a struggle for me when I went into my MBA first semester. Accounting was my toughest subject, because when people said debit and credit, for me it meant the same. Till such time I got the logic of it after my first quiz, and then there was no stopping. Today I think I can do a balance sheet much better than a BCom. So that's one of the things which I've been a science student. But don't worry whether you are a science or an arts or a commerce student. If you put your mind over matters, you can be the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Another query. Can you suggest some good online course that we can pursue during our graduation to enhance our skill?
Madam, I did not get the last part of it.
Can you suggest some good online course that we can pursue during our graduation to enhance our skill?
Okay. See, now there are a lot of courses. I should not be biased. I can't give you some courses and then you should not feel that I'm doing something. But if you're trying to go into the field of finance, there's so many good online courses run by good organizations. I'm again repeating, by good organizations, including universities as well as learning organizations. Take, for example, I'm just sharing something. I learned a lot of skills from Udemy. Okay, so especially on my psychology front, I'm learning a lot of courses from Udemy. Microsoft, since we are a Microsoft partner, we get a lot of courses from Microsoft, which includes leadership development, which includes communication, corporate communication, and so on. As a graduate student, if you can learn one foreign language, especially for me, I learned French and German. French, of course, been part of my studies in my academics as well, but German, French, these have been my strengths today. And I'm on my way to perfect my Spanish. It's helped me a lot, especially when you are traveling abroad, when you're interacting with people from a different part of the globe, especially Spanish, because Spanish is spoken in a larger part. It's spoken including in US, in South America, as well as it's spoken in Europe. So if you can do something on a language front, if you could do something of certifications, which could be in the field of finance, marketing, human resources, it will be useful for you to open your horizons. Now, as a first-year student, I would say if you could learn a language, and if you could learn some of the finer tuning up of your basic skills. So that's something that you could do, but do it from a place which gives you the best inputs. I
Thank
hope
you.
I've given a satisfactory
Sure, sir. Yes, sir.
answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your reply. Due to the paucity of time, we will not be entertaining further queries. And on behalf of Geeta Ratan International Business School, I would like to extend my gratitude towards your humble acceptance for joining us and enlightening our students with your words of wisdom. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. I must apologize once again for the delay, and
That's
I
not a
thank all
problem,
of you,
sir.
especially I need to thank all of you, especially Dr. Anirudh, Dr. Hoti, Dr. Ghosh, and you, madam, and all the people especially my dear students, all the best. If we don't meet before the new year, all the best to you. A happy Christmas and a very happy New Year. Let all the pandemic vanish, and may you all become happy and bright and cheerful and come back to the campus.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much.
and all the very best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us, students. That's all for today.